am the co-founder of The City Story, which is a local discovery platform and city guide. And I am going to talk about people and their interaction and relationship with cities. So I'm an Air Force brat. I spent the first half of my life in remote corners of the country in various Air Force stations, and the other half in big cities across the country. So moving from the quiet comfort of the rural to the organized chaos of the metropolis, it took me quite a while to adapt to city life. But when I did, I was completely hooked. I love cities. They are our past, our present, and our future. And they are evolving every single day. Some of us already live in the cities of the future, and some of us can taste that intoxicating future in the air. Cities are also living, breathing conundrums. There is so much productivity. There is so much time that is wasted in traffic, so much happening on the weekend, so much work to do, so many people, yet such few connections. We've also come to realize this about cities and our future in them, is that they are chipping away at the one thing which is crucial for our well-being: connection. As far into the future that we travel, we know that human connection, interaction, and community are the tenets of a life well lived. So is there something missing in cities? Well, more and more research is beginning to link chronic loneliness with early mortality. Loneliness shows up as a factor in heart disease, in diabetes, and depression. And this isn't just restricted to the elderly in a city. This pandemic of loneliness is all-encompassing. It affects all ages, especially new residents to a neighborhood or a city, to migrants, and even people who might be introverted in nature. So if we just look at Mumbai, just 1 second. Right. Mumbai's population has more than doubled since 1991. And this increase has been attributed to migration. Individuals who migrate experience multiple stresses, including the loss of cultural norms, religious customs, and even social support systems. The sense of disconnection and not belonging is all permeating and can lead to social isolation. Now, when we look at future cities, whether being constructed from scratch or being regrouped, redeveloped, and rebranded from a cluster of villages, they will face the same problem of disconnection and unfamiliarity, but with the added difficulty of initially being synthetic and not augmenting from a cohesive community. The cities of the future will be made up entirely of people grouped together from various communities, and they will come under the single umbrella of a city. So how then do you make a place a home? How do you give people a sense of belonging and ownership? See, it's easier with older cities. Older cities had Aboriginal hubs and newer pockets that sort of developed and gradually and naturally grew from shared community or religion or even a common hometown. People met and mingled in community spaces and learned about each other through stories. They shared their past and imagined futures together. We assume that future cities will have communes built on shared interests and aspirations. But future cities will be more diverse and more heterogeneous than we have ever seen. So outside of their buildings and their mini cities, how will these people meet and how will they get to know one another? Darren Anderson is the author of a book called Imaginary Cities, and he has a very interesting thought in his book, and it goes like this: to go beyond the superficial aspects of future cities requires seeing past the architectural shell and the marketing to the systems, relationships and the people within, the citizens rather than the citadels. These citizens, you and I, we must continue to find avenues to share our imagination, fulfill our desire to connect, and to be part of the tapestry of personal histories of cities of the future. But is there a solution? Now, traditional solutions to disconnection will always have their place. Whether it's parks, cultural venues, and libraries, there have always been ways for people to share stories. But things change, and in their citadels, how will citizens find each other? In today's world, where everybody relies very heavily on the internet to know more, there is absolutely no shortage of directories, maps, and listings that will give us all the information that we need to know about cities. But it is stories that citizens will seek, because stories infuse a place or an experience with meaning. They give significance to a person or an event. More than just information, they permit a sense of familiarity to an otherwise unfamiliar subject. Now, the city story is creating a digital village in our current cities and for our future cities. Every day, more and more readers and writers come to us because they have found that through our stories, we connect new residents to places that have a nostalgic value for old residents. We help people plan to meet, eat, greet, regroup via comments on our stories. We inspire writers and non-writers to look at the surroundings like anthropologists and dig beneath the surface and find stories that have existed for a while but nobody really paid attention. We also champion local manufacturers because we believe that that is the future of a digital village. We've noticed a clear engagement from our readers, which is incredibly important to us because it shows us that our stories connect with people in a more meaningful manner. Now, as I mentioned, I moved a lot while growing up. I changed 10 schools and I moved over 30 apartments. And all those years, I dealt with an ache for familiarity. And I found that in Mumbai, but not before I had spent 7 long years trying to know its people, know its places, find the shortcuts, find its secrets. And by the time I did, I had decided to move to another big city. And this time around, I didn't really want to spend those many years trying to build up that sense of belonging. I wanted all the secrets, and I wanted them now, and I wanted all the stories. I wanted a shortcut. And that was the inception of the city story. London feels like home in 3 short years, and I know I have so much more to discover, but it is home now. I've also discovered that all of us are looking for meaning and connection, and this is amongst us and around us. One of the most famous travel guides is called Lonely Planet, and we at the City Story don't think it has to be lonely at all. Thank you.